You know, I was actually pretty lenient when it came down to the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth. Just like Taco Bell after a beer 17, it was vomit-inducing and it may have even caused a bout of gut-wrenching ass explosions. But at the time, at the very least, it tasted good going down. However, episode 3, titled Metamorphosis, can best be described as grabbing a cup of water from a street vendor in Northeast India, only to find out it came from the Ganges River itself. Sure, it's cold and refreshing to a certain extent, but before you know it, you're hunched over puking your guts out from all the bacteria and you've somehow grown a 3rd testicle due to toxic exposure.
But I try and find my balls, for God's sakes. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm okay.
What an absolute mess of an episode this was, where it doubled down on the worst attributes from the previous 2, is filled with more contrivances than an MCU film, and somehow managed to make one of the most terrifying creatures in all of cinematic history look like an absolute bitch.
You serious?
Alien Earth, episode 3. Let's talk about it. Now, before we get into my nonsensical, overly sarcastic criticism, just like with my episode breakdowns of The Last of Us, I want this video to be an open discussion on how you feel about the show so far. Disagree with what I have to say? Go ahead, let me know your thoughts. I'm not going to hold or delete any comments, just attack the opinion, not the person, unless you're calling me an asshole, which many have. That'll never not be funny. Anyway, let's get into this.
Hold on to your butts.
So there's just a lot of shit going on in episode 3, and I think that's going to be the downfall of Alien Earth as a show. There's too many characters, too many storylines, too many settings and tones, and it leaves the viewer stuck in this sort of narrative limbo, not knowing how to feel about what's happening on screen. Take Shitty Haircut, for instance, the main character of the show, the person we're supposed to be sympathizing with and getting to know on a personal level. The things she does, the things she says are all pretty surface level, backed by this overarching reasoning of, I have to protect my brother, which feels more like cliche than actual substance at this point, hinting that the writers didn't quite know what to do with her here. Now don't get me wrong, I think Sydney Chandler's performance is one of the highlights of the show, but the extremes that come out of her actions and emotions gave me enough total whiplash I had to schedule an appointment at my local chiropractor. What should have been a tense, character-defining moment of her doing her worst impression of Trinity's run from the Matrix while pursuing the Xenomorph, finding her brother, saving him, and then going one-on-one with the monster itself, ended up feeling cheap and contrived. I mean, seriously, you mean to tell me that the alien blood disintegrated an entire section of a cargo hold like it was single-ply toilet paper, but her weaponized office-grade paper cutter is mostly fine? At least fine enough that she can still use it as a weapon?
Oh, come on!
Or how about when she gets locked behind the supply door and is forced to fight close quarters against the alien and somehow manages to kill it? Off screen.
Fuck.
I mean, seriously, Disney, this is an alien show, for God's sakes. We're here to see the blood and gore that comes with that. So how come the first alien takedown happens behind a damn door and all we get to see is the aftermath? Even the partial fight that happened before that was ridiculous. You mean to tell me that one of the most terrifying apex predators in all of science fiction is just going to stand there and let you manhandle it by attaching a shepherd's hook to its tongue?
Look how they massacred my boy.
This even begs the question, is Shitty Haircut stronger than the alien? Like, we've seen her do some borderline superhero level feats like running real fast and being able to pick up extraordinarily heavy objects, but if she's able to outsmart, outlift, and outrun the alien, what kind of stakes is that? Can the rest of the synths do the same? Just, whatever, I guess. It's not all doom and gloom though, I suppose, because right after a gratingly awful childish back and forth between 2 of the Lost Boys in the egg room, Morrow shows back up to download the ship's files. We find out that he's going through a bit of survivor's guilt, having difficulty coming to an understanding of what happened to his crew and how Weyland-Yutani has changed as a company while he was frozen aboard the ship for 65 years. He's a character that's morally ambiguous, part man, part machine, bound to his programming as a cyborg, but haunted by his human free will, and struggling to reconcile everything he's done up to this point and missed out on. He even reveals that the driving force behind what he does, why he threw himself into work and became a cyborg in the first place, is because of the loss of his daughter.
I like it a lot.
What I'm trying to say is that episode 3 sets him up pretty well narratively, and it left me wondering what exactly he's going to do next. Will the memories of his family and what he did aboard the ship help reclaim his humanity? He seems to have developed a liking for one of the Lost Boys because he hid an impractical bullshit communication device that somehow can't be tracked by Prodigy, even though literally everything else on the synths can be. So does that mean he's going to try and protect them in some way? No idea. But out of everything so far in the show, Morrow is easily the most compelling aspect.
Well, all right then.
What isn't compelling, though, is the pacing of this episode, which exchanges the action and suspense of the previous 2 episodes to an almost entire hour of world building. Sure, it was pretty cool to see the stark contrast between Prodigy's hyper-elaborate and luxurious headquarters with the slums of the city, which Morrow is somehow having a leisurely stroll through despite being Prodigy enemy number 1. But this is an alien show, and outside of the ridiculous fight between it and Shitty Haircut, it and whatever other threats aboard the ship are sidelined. All the suspense, the tense, horrific moments are gone.
Oh, come on!
For fuck's sake, there's even an entire scene where they drag Shitty Haircut and her brother into Prodigy's headquarters with a guitar riff playing in the background that was so terrible that I wanted to ram ballpoint pens into my eardrums, and all the creatures from the ship are perfectly contained and pose no real threat. This creates a bit of a lull, taking away from the high stakes and horror and swaps it out with stuff like company politics, sibling dynamics, and why in the hell this entire show has Peter Pan and Wendy at the center of the damn thing. Like, there's an entire 5-minute sequence where Nibs, the redheaded synth that looks like an alien herself, struggles with PTSD and the conflict she had with the alien eyeball octopus thing, and she begins to question why in the hell they're all named after characters from a Disney film. One sympathizes, really, because I have no fucking clue either. Now, I don't mind a bit of in-depth exploration of characters and theming, but it's how it's done that matters. You can't go from a scene with Shitty Haircut hauling 7 sheets of shark shit down a hallway chasing after an alien, like I talked about before, to a sudden, somber, 5-minute character-driven emotional segment where they're just sitting there talking to one another.
Right.
All in all, I'm still somewhat invested in Alien Earth. I guess. Morrow is intriguing enough. I hope he gets more screen time in the coming episodes, and they're managing to fill in some of the gaps in Alien's lore with world building, but it's just, it all feels kind of cookie cutter, you know? Like the writers didn't know what to do. So they try to resort to some of the more classical Alien moments, but somehow managed to bastardize them and took away some of the key beats that made them classical in the first place. Well, leave it to Disney, right? Leave it to Disney to fuck up yet another beloved franchise. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking out my review. I'll talk to y'all later.